What's going on, people? Welcome back to Curtis Shaw TV, back with another transfer live stream. Arsenal are doing business, people. We're signing players. Today, Arsenal have agreed a deal for Martin Odegaard to join on loan from Real Madrid. It did look like he was going to go to Real Sociedad, but his head was turned by Arsenal, and he is set to join Arsenal. And out of nowhere, we never saw this one coming. I know this guy's been mentioned a few times, but Arsenal have signed Matty Ryan, the goalkeeper, on loan from Brighton until the end of the season. So we have a decent backup goalkeeper now. No more Renarsson, on work experience business. So, yeah, I'm delighted. A lot of you in the comments over the last few days have been talking about Matt Ryan from Brighton. So, amazingly, it come to fruition. So, big up everyone in the comments. I think I was pretty close to being on time today. Lloyd, I Curtis, big up, respect. We're actually doing business. Big up Curtis from the Leicester supporter there. Yeah, we're doing business. Working from home today. Finally able to watch your day live stream. There you go, man. There is some, profit from working from home. Joel B said, Curtis, we've signed a fellow Aussie. Love it. Let me know about him, Joel. How good is he? I've seen him play a few times. A couple of Australian-based Arsenal fans have messaged me, giving me a little write-up on him and stuff like that. 1T in the mat. Okay, apologies, people. I'll edit that. Let me take that. I don't want to spell the guy's name wrong when he just joined the club. So let's take that out. Apparently, it's 1T in the mat. But listen, as long as he comes in and does a decent job, then we're there. AFTVFC have signed Renarsson on loan. Nah, we didn't need backup, man. We got enough goalkeepers. Big up to Renarsson. Bakuta said, what's up, Big C? This is looking to be an excellent transfer window. Joel said he's fantastic, mate, and he's an Arsenal fan. Yeah, I just noticed that, obviously, when the tweets came out saying that he's a boyhood Arsenal fan. And listen, I think that's a good signing for Arsenal. You have to give some credit to Edu for getting these deals done. I think one thing that's clear is Arsenal are not, let's just say, I don't think Arsenal are strapped with a lot of cash in this January transfer window. The fact we've brought in 2 players on loan, I think tells you a lot about Arsenal's business. If they were loaded with money, I'm sure we would have made a move for an hour or someone like that. There are a few interesting points that have been brought up regarding this deal with Martin Odegaard. I said we should loan Renarsson to Boreham Wood. Let's just have a look at this deal and how it's sort of come to fruition. So as you can see here, an interesting point here from Guillaume Balaguer. He said, Real Madrid blocked Martin Odegaard's loan to Real Sociedad and want him to join Arsenal because of the style of play, because they believe he will play regularly. I mean, maybe Real Madrid have not watched Arsenal that much this season, because our style of play is not, it's not exactly amazing, is it? So maybe they haven't watched us too much this season. But, another report was saying that they didn't want Odegaard to go to Sociedad because Sociedad are actually challenging Real Madrid for a Champions League spot. Now, the crazy thing, when Odegaard went to Real Sociedad last season, he scored against Real Madrid in the game because they didn't have a clause in his loan to say that he wasn't allowed to play against his parent club, which is a pretty crazy situation. But yeah, so they don't want him to go to another team that's challenging for top 4. So then you wonder, was it Odegaard saying, I don't want to go Sociedad, I want to go to Arsenal? Or was it a case of, you've got no choice in the matter, you're not going to Sociedad, you either stay here and sit on the bench, or you go and play for Arsenal? I mean, does it matter to you really, or does it matter? Do you want to feel like, you know what, he really wanted to come to Arsenal? I suppose it makes no difference if he comes in and, plays well, then we are where we are with that one. I think that my sort of, there you go, style of play, the truth is they don't want him to go to Sociedad. I think we can see that. If you've seen Arsenal play this season, our style of play is not actually it's not actually the most attractive of football that we've been playing this year. So, yeah, maybe he did want a new challenge, you know. A lot of players from Scandinavia and that have done well in England in the past. So maybe he thought, you know, I don't want him. I don't want to go back to Sociedad. I'd rather go to Arsenal. Let's face it, we're a much bigger club than Sociedad. We're both in the Europa League. They play against Manchester United as well in the next round. And I think United will probably beat Sociedad. Whereas we play Benfica, we've got a chance. It's pronounced Odegaard. Odegaard? There you go. We'll try our best. At the moment, we're just going with Odegaard. But it's improved, Kurt, since we've moved from a 4-2-3-1. It has improved slightly, to be honest, but still a long way to go. Still a long, long way to go. As Robbie would say, this is a major coup for Arsenal. I mean, listen, one thing that... there you go, close enough. One thing is that we don't have an option to buy. From everything I've been reading, states that there's no option to buy on the player, which to me is a little bit disappointing. I always class it as sort of work experience, you know, because if you're a big club and you bring in players on loan, you want the option to buy, because if he comes to Arsenal now and tears it up for the next 6 months, we're like, listen, we need to sign him. Real Madrid, they've got aging players like, you know, Luka Modric and players like that getting older. They might just look and say, right, thanks for looking after him for 6 months. Now we'll take him back, thanks. And we're in the same situation come the summer that we still need an attacking midfielder. He's 22 years of age. If he comes in, does well and enjoys it at Arsenal, we're going to want to keep him. You know, so I would like to see Arsenal really pushing for that option to buy. There are rumours that there's a gentleman's agreement that we could, if they're willing to sell him in the summer, that we can sign him. But you can't trust clubs with gentleman's agreement. Big up, Big C. Do you see a chance Odegaard and ESR playing together? I do in certain games. You know, I do. I think you can play with two creative players. You could also play him off the left. I mean, what's interesting is that Odegaard was apparently being linked with Leicester earlier in the window. Madrid at that time were not willing to loan him. And then the situation has changed during the transfer window. So unlucky, Leicester. I know you're flying high, but still. Maxim said option to buy is a must. It is. You know, we took Dani Ceballos with no option to buy for 2 years. You know, again, you're just improving a player to send him back. It's very short term, but when you don't have, you know, a lot of cash, what more can you do, really? Omar said Curtis Ryan is better than Renarsson, so that's a start. Yep, definitely. We will look at him shortly as well. We do seem to have a good relationship with Madrid. Of course, we've done business there in the past. Mesut Ozil, and of course, Dani Ceballos as well. And now it looks as if Odegaard. So there is some sort of relationship there. I saw the news that Zinedine Zidane has tested positive for COVID-19 as well. But apparently Odegaard has not been in close contact with him. So there should be no reason for Odegaard to have to go into isolation for 2 weeks. He should still be able to come in. Cover and competition for ESR. Yeah, I think that's a positive thing. You know, all upgrades this window. I think we have to put it into context like this. We're signing potential. We're not signing ready-made superstar. You know, this isn't a guy who's just going to come in, start straight away and rip the place to shreds. It's going to take him a little bit of time. One thing that people have said maybe goes against him a little bit is he's a bit lightweight on the ball, you know, but apparently very good at dribbling and so on. Got an eye for a pass. He's left-footed. You know, is he going to take that number 10 shirt? Is this our new M10? You know, went from Mesut Ozil to Martin Odegaard. So let's see. Any other loans incoming? Let's hope so. You know, Arsenal being linked with left backs now as well. Curtis, greetings from Canada. What future for ESR if Odegaard comes? Listen, I don't see any problem for Smith Rowe with Odegaard coming in, even if we signed him on a permanent deal. If you play for top level clubs, you're always going to have competition. Always going to have competition at the top level. There's no way that Smith Rowe should just say, right, I'm the only creative player. No one else is going to have a chance to get anywhere near the first team. I just don't see that as a situation. I think it will push him to become even better. Martin Odegaard had better stats than Frankie de Jong during his time at Vitesse Arnhem. MO10 back in the team. There you go. MO10 is back. Martinelli, Saka, ESR and Odegaard, fantastic four. Yeah, listen, I hope Arsenal get something lined up to say that we can sign him on a permanent if he does well. Real Madrid are not stupid. They always seem to have an option. Even with Reguilon, who went to Tottenham, they've got a buyback clause after 2 years. And listen, we're going to be talking about this as well in a bit, because I've just seen this news breaking. Actually, it was reported yesterday, but Arsenal potentially looking at Ryan Bertrand as a backup left back. What would your thoughts be on that? We will get to that after we talk about Matt Ryan and Odegaard. Obviously, Bertrand is 31. He's got 6 months left on his contract at Southampton. Pretty steady left back, to be honest, as cover. I wouldn't mind that. But listen, we'll talk about that later on. And I just want to have a quick look at this one as well as we're looking at Odegaard before we move on. A story here. So Kaya Kanak, I think he works for Football London, said, I spoke to a Norwegian football expert about what Arsenal can expect from Martin Odegaard. He said, can play with Smith Rowe as a number 8. He's at his best as a number 10. He's like Ozil, but with added work rate, and is a perfect fit for Mikel Arteta. So, that's indicating there that he could play potentially behind Smith Rowe next to Thomas Partey, but he is better as the 10. In certain games, we may play with 2 attacking midfielders. You could play Smith Rowe and Odegaard. Listen, I think he brings quality to the team. He's got a lovely left foot. He can dribble. Arsenal actually tried to sign him when he was 16. He was actually shown around the training ground. Arsene Wenger tried to sign him. He was considered a wonder kid at the time. Pep Guardiola apparently wanted him. I think Pep was at Bayern Munich at that time. But Real Madrid, obviously being a huge, huge football club, they managed to convince him. He's had 2 loans in Holland, 1 loan in Spain. He was named in La Liga squad of the season last year. And listen, I think it's a positive move in the right direction. Clearly, Arsenal are cash-strapped. And getting a player that got 7 goals and 9 assists last season in 36 games for Real Sociedad and getting them into the Europa League, I think is a positive. And listen, I think to get him in on loan is very good. What was also interesting, there was a report today from David Ornstein, where David Ornstein was saying that Arsenal were not sure about Buendia. And I respect that, because I always got the impression Arsenal were not fully convinced by him. And I always said, don't go and buy a player that you're not sure about. Get somebody temporary and go for the bigger signing in the summer. We've done this so many times where we've signed players and you can tell the club weren't sure. They've committed after a year. They've tried to get rid of them and they haven't been able to. Bjorn said Arsenal will score many goals with Odegaard in the team. Let's hope so. Let's hope so. Aouar is just too much money. I think the problem with Aouar is I think he will go to somewhere, let's say bigger in the summer. I think he could go to Real Madrid, Juventus. Clubs like that are being linked with him. Big up Fraser. He said, hey, Curtis just joined. Is it with an option to buy or just loan? At the moment, it all seems to be that it's just a loan with a gentleman's agreement that Arsenal can buy him in the summer if everyone kind of agrees to it. But I'm never overly comfortable with that situation. I think you have to have that option to buy written up so that you can get him. Listen, I think it's a good signing, but I think we have to get the option to buy in there. We can't be doing work experience for Real Madrid and let them reap the benefits of it after. Great news, says Carol. Yeah, listen, it is good news. As I said earlier, we're moving in the right direction. And I do give Edu some credit, because they could have gone out there and panic bought someone. If they weren't sure about Buendia, why should you go and pay 30 or 40 million for a player you're not sure of? You've brought in a very young talent here with a lot of potential who has improved year by year. A lot of Arsenal fans didn't want Isco or someone like that who maybe is slowing down in his career. Odegaard is hungry. He's on the come up. Bjorn here speaking. Tell us a bit about him, Bjorn, if you because I've noticed that you're saying a lot about him. Give us a bit of a rundown about Odegaard. Odegaard to hit up Haaland. Yeah, get on the phone to Haaland, man. Get us in the Champions League next year, and we'll pay that 60 million release clause for Haaland in the summer. We need that creative number 10. It'll be interesting if he actually wears the number 10 shirt when he comes in, because that shirt is available now. I know obviously the number 5 shirt, I believe, is available with Socrates going. I'm not saying because he's 28, Isco, that he's slowing down. I think the general feeling is that he's kind of going through the motions in his career at the moment. 28 and hungry is different, but he isn't playing a lot of football. People saying he's put weight on. He played the other day, I believe, in the cup game and had a stinker. Real Madrid lost as well. So probably getting a 22-year-old with a lot more to prove is better. Odegaard and ESR, the new David Silva and KDB. Listen, let's see, man. Let's see. 10 and 11 available. It'll be interesting. I'm sure he'll want the 10, but maybe they'll give him the 11 shirt. But that will be interesting. Franny in here, go and check out his channel, said, imagine the buyback clause would be, or the buyout clause would be very high. Real Madrid are not silly when it comes to business. They don't just loan players out and just, they're going to want big money for him as a 22-year-old who they've invested, 5 or 6, 7 years of time into. So, yeah, that'll be interesting. Curtis, an earlier interview said this is Edu's first window with full control. Good sign if it's true. Yeah, David Ornstein, again, went on to say that. He said that this is his first full window where it was all him. He said even in the summer, Raul Sanelli was, certain deals had him negotiating. So this is the first window. Clearly, Arsenal don't have money to spend in this window. That's why they work in the loan market. And I think they've been, creative in this window with what they could have got. Julian Brandt was not going to go. It was clear over the last few weeks that he's going to stay. Isco, it seems like people weren't sure. There's a big wage. He's just had a baby. Apparently, he wanted to stay in Spain if he was going to move. So I think this is a decent signing in a window with not a lot of money. Who else could we have got? The brown envelopes for Raul is out the window, so now everything has to be done above board. Number 5 is for Thomas Partey. It's got to be, hasn't it? It's got to be. Arsenal pull is different. I think, it depends who the team is that we're competing with. When I saw Real Sociedad, I thought, listen, you've had a good time there. I get that, but we're a giant compared to Real Sociedad. And listen, I think it's good. They say Mikel Arteta actually approached him personally and spoke to him on the phone and convinced him to join. So Bjorn said, I don't want Odegaard to play against United. He will make you much more dangerous. I like that. So you're bigging him up. Big up Curtis. I think we should move for Danny Ings. I think the age thing now, he's 28, nearly 29. He would be expensive as well. The Arteta pull. Well, I'm not sure what pull, but yeah, listen, he obviously talks a good game. I've always said Arteta's a bit of a politician when it comes to these press conferences and that. He says a lot of things you want to hear. But let's see. Conditions were in our favour for Odegaard. Yeah, listen, I think number 1, Real Madrid didn't want him to go there. I don't think they wanted him to go there because they are challenging Real Madrid for a top 4 spot, and Real Madrid are not doing great this season. It's an interesting point. Dan the Man said Real Madrid want Mbappe. They will sell Odegaard. Possibly. I think they're looking at Aouar as well. So think Zinedine Zidane loves Arsenal. Can see that he's a big fan. It's probably the French connection, man. Remember when Zidane was playing and he was going to international duty with Henry and Wiltord and Petit, Pires. Arsene Wenger was there. A lot of these French players, man, they've got a soft spot for Arsenal. So maybe he said, you know what, man, they need you, man. You're not going Sociedad. You know what I'm saying? Can't give number 10 to Odegaard if it's half a season. Yeah, maybe give him the 11. Say, listen, you come here on a permanent deal and do the business. We'll give you the number 10. But until then, you've got to wait. So are we allowed to loan players from the same team? Yeah, apparently we are. We're allowed to loan 2. As long as they're from outside of England. Big up my boy Deluded in the cut. Go and subscribe to his channel. I'm sure you've done a video about this earlier on as well. So yeah, go and check out his channel. Yeah, we were supposed to do something. Let's do something after. When do we play Southampton tomorrow? So after that, we'll get to work, bro. Curtis, I've heard that Arteta has said to Pepe, just don't dribble and play it safe. Surely he can't be saying that. To be fair, he's got to be on the pitch first, get him on the pitch. Stian United said, you're very lucky to get Odegaard. He has got great skills, free kicks and corners, left foot, amazing skills going forward. He will improve the team for sure. A lot of people bigging up Odegaard highly. Yeah, man, big up Deluded Birdwine in the cut, man, I told you. Birdwine in the cut, man, I'm telling you. Go and check out his channel, man. Listen, let's move on to the next one anyway. That's the Odegaard talk. I think you can safely say we're happy with what's going on with that one. So he'll be coming in on loan. Looks like 6 months. No option to buy, but apparently a gentleman's agreement that they can get the deal done if possible. But hey, can you ever trust a club with that? If he tears it up, I'm sure Madrid will say send him back and you ain't having it. But listen, we move on from that. Second one, and this one just came out of nowhere, which was Matt Ryan. Done deal, joins Arsenal, signed on loan. No one saw it coming, and he has joined the club. Let me just show you the page. Matt Ryan has joined on loan until the end of the season. Again, I haven't heard anything about an option to buy, but he's had a big fallout at Brighton. And here he is, Matt Ryan. Signing for the club you grew up supporting as a kid. Tick, Arsenal. Buzzing to be beginning this new chapter. Will give everything I've got to contribute to the first club I ever loved. Boyhood Arsenal fan. You would have never known this, would you? There he is, Matt Ryan, Australian international goalkeeper. Joins from Brighton. He's been pretty solid in the Premier League, to be honest. At Brighton, and I'm quite surprised at the way they've treated him over there, because they've kind of just dismissed him and moved on from him. But I suppose their loss is our gain. He's 28 years of age. He's quite highly rated. I would call him a solid Premier League goalkeeper. I don't think he's unbelievable, but he's decent. And listen, I think it's a positive. Got him on loan. Renarsson apparently could be made available to loan. Matt Ryan takes the number 33 shirt. Apparently as well, his mum is Scottish. And because of that, he's not classed as a non-homegrown player. So that won't affect if we did want to go and sign another non-homegrown player. These crazy things, you can only have so many in your squad. So because of his Scottish mum, he's classed as a homegrown player. So that's a positive as well. Comes in on loan. I'm sure there'll be a situation where we could sign him at the end of the season. He's had a big fallout at Brighton, doesn't seem to be getting on with the manager, and he joins Arsenal. So he will be here until the end of the season on loan. So listen, to me, I think that's a positive. I think that's a positive to get him in. And, on loan again, I have to give some credit to Edu, because he's clearly working with scraps. He's clearly working with scraps. You can tell that he's not being given big money to go and get big players. To get a couple of smart loans in for this window is probably a good option for Arsenal. So, yeah, I think that's a good one. He's an experienced player in the Premier League. And listen, the thing is he going to get game time? Will he play in the FA Cup, actually? You would think the FA Cup is where he would play. Because, Renarsson was playing in some of the cup competitions earlier on. Will he go straight into the team? Just imagine him coming in and having a bad game or making a mistake, and we get knocked out the FA Cup as the holders. The fans will turn on him straight away. So listen, would I put him straight in the team? I'm not sure. It's a difficult game against Southampton as well. I would probably wait a little bit before we get him in. Fran said, this is very good business if we get them all in for the position we are in the league. And that's it. Matt Ryan has 6 months left on his contract. See, I didn't know that. You lot keeping me informed. So we can get him on a free at the end of the season. So it's a bit of a no-brainer in that sense. Mods, pattern these people up, man, putting in loads of spam in there. But yeah, if he's a free at the end of the season, then it makes sense for Arsenal to get him in. Fettel and Tonic says, hey, Curtis, I've watched Matt Ryan for years. He is exceptionally underrated with his feet. I would say definitely stronger than Leno in this area. And you lead me on nicely to a comment here, to something that I wanted to show you was this. Let's have a look. Sky Sports say, among Premier League goalkeepers last season, only Kepa, Alisson and Edison registered a higher passing accuracy rate than Matt Ryan. He is adept at playing out from the back, making him a good fit for Arsenal's style, and his long-range kicking is another weapon. I mean, there you go. I mean, I'm not saying Kepa's great, but Alisson and Edison, very good with their feet. And apparently, Matt Ryan is the fourth highest passing accuracy, something that Leno has been criticised for a number of times, that his kicking isn't quite accurate enough. So, listen, I think that's good. They say he's a solid shot stopper, good shot stopper. His weakness, if you like, is sometimes coming for crosses. He's not the best, but definitely good with his feet, and that will suit Arsenal. Listen, free transfer at the end of the season, if that's the case, it's a no-brainer. It's a no-brainer. He's 28, which is still young for goalkeepers. And he's got good kicking. He's Australian international. I believe he's their number one. Ben says good day from Australia. And man said Kepa is great as well, Curtis. I've seen him. I don't know if he is, to be honest. The next Martinez situation. No, listen, I think this one works out well in our favour. I think we've got a solid Premier League goalkeeper as number two. You're never going to get a top quality goalkeeper to come in as number two. They're not going to sit around knowing that they're not playing and just sit there. So at least Matt Ryan is a. Would I be right if we had signed a Brighton reject? I mean, you could say that. Which is disappointing. But I think as a number two, as a backup goalkeeper, it's not bad. It's not bad at all. Curtis, bro, would you rather Arsenal be on a trophy drought for 10 years or remove the Henry statue and replace it with Sanogo? Oh, man. We can't go on a 10-year drought. We can't do that. So the statue's got to go. No Renarson party time. Yeah, for real, man. Yeah, Anthony, if you can, just deal with them, that spam that's being put in. Apparently has great distribution. As I said, the fourth best passing accuracy in the league. Curtis, Brighton fans ain't happy we've got Ryan. There you go. I think, that shows we've got a steady goalkeeper in. And I think, it's a positive for Arsenal if we can get him on a free in the summer. 1.2K in the chat. Big up for the great numbers. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. And we're making signings, man. The deal hasn't been announced yet of Odegaard. Hopefully that gets announced sometime today. Rumours coming out of Spain that this deal could be announced within the next few hours, even though the player is still in Madrid, apparently. So I don't know how we can announce it. But, obviously Fabrizio Romano said that he decided with his family that the Arsenal move was the better deal for him. Arteta spoke directly with the player, said this was a key factor. Also, one of the deciding factors from what I'm reading is that obviously David Silva plays for Real Sociedad. Now, he was on loan last season, Martin Odegaard, when David Silva was still at Manchester City. David Silva joined them in the summer, kind of plays in that number 10 role a little bit as well. So I'm not sure Odegaard would have got as much football as he probably got last season when he was on loan there. So a number of factors there. And listen, like I said, Odegaard actually came to Arsenal training ground with a potential of signing for us before he ended up joining Real Madrid in the first place. There are currently no spaces left for overseas players in the Arsenal squad. Now Matt Ryan has taken Kolasinac's place, so it'll be interesting. As I said, Darren, from what I've read, he doesn't take up an overseas place because he has a Scottish mother, which I think means he has a British passport as well as an Australian one. So he actually is considered as a homegrown player, Matt Ryan. So, yeah. Adam said, great backup, big up Curtis. Thank you very much. Yeah, decent signing. Listen, we're not singing from the rooftops that we've signed the second choice goalkeeper, from Brighton, or we've got a young-ish player on loan from Real Madrid, potentially on work experience. I say work experience for the fact that he may come here, tear it up, and Real Madrid say, thanks very much, now send him back. You've got no option to buy him written in the contract. So they could do whatever they want, they could bump us at the end of it. For me, if they're giving us a gentleman's agreement that we can sign him at the end of the season, Odegaard, why not get that written in paper? Why not get that on the contract? To me, you can't trust football teams at their word, but listen, it's a good signing. It's a positive, Odegaard. I think we were all getting worried that Arsenal weren't going to do any business. We're 22 days into the month, and finally we're signing players. The goalkeeper situation for me was huge, because if Leno gets injured, we have got a major problem going on with if Arsenal was the second choice. Getting Matt Ryan in is a decent, solid signing. Certain teams are lucky. You look at Man United, they've got Henderson as their backup keeper. People were saying last season he could potentially be England's #1 goalkeeper. But most teams don't have a great backup goalkeeper, let's be honest. Look at Adrian at Liverpool, and they're the champions. He's not a great backup goalkeeper. So, listen, Matt Ryan, for me, it came out of nowhere. A lot of people have mentioned it, saying that he would potentially be a good signing, and it's come out of nowhere. You spoke it into existence. So, listen, we'll speak up Lionel Messi signing in the summer. But listen, the third and final transfer that I want to potentially talk about, Arsenal are being linked with Ryan Bertrand from Southampton. He's 31 years of age. He has 6 months left on his contract at Southampton. He's out of contract in the summer. And there is talk of Arsenal signing him on loan until the end of the season, with the option of buying him in the summer. Similar deal that we did with Cedric Suarez last year from Southampton last January. What are your thoughts on this? Now, to me, I'd take Ryan Bertrand under one circumstance. And I'll tell you what the circumstance is. He can't be on a long-term contract for me, because at 31, I don't want us to get tied down with another player that's kind of winding down his career, getting a long-term high contract. If you're giving him maybe 2 years, then I'd be all over it. For me, Ryan Bertrand has been a solid left-back since he's been at Southampton. I think he actually played in the Champions League final for Chelsea when they won it. But he's gone to Southampton, and for me, just quietly handled his business there as a left-back. He's never in the limelight. He's just one of them left-backs that I'd say is a pretty solid left-back. He's better than Kolasinac, in my opinion. If you're talking 1 or 2 years, I would take him. I would honestly take him. There you go. You've solid, if not spectacular, but that's all you want. That's all you want. We have to take into account that Kieran Tierney is quite injury-prone. And, Kolasinac hopefully will be sold in the summer. The ex-Chelsea thing doesn't bother me that much. I know with certain players, especially when they come in directly from Chelsea, then it's a bit more of a problem. But he's been at Southampton for years, and I think he's established himself as a solid left-back in the Premier League. Now, I know he's 31. So, as I said, for me, no more than 2 years. If Arsenal start giving 3-4 year contracts, then I wouldn't do it. But for me, Bertrand as a 1 or 2 year deal, I mean, as you said, he's not going to want a 1 year contract. That's the problem. He's going to want 2 or 3. I think you've got to be giving him maximum 2. 2 years would take him up to 33. English as well. For me, that's a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. I would definitely take him. Let me know. He said for the first time, I don't agree. Let me know. I'll tell you why I think I would sign him. Number one, he's a solid left back. He's been solid for quite a few years. He's got Premier League experience. You get him on loan and you sign him on a free in the summer. So, you haven't got to go and spend 10, 15 million on a left back. Second of all, He's English. Now, we know with Brexit coming in, this is going to affect how, you've got to have certain English players in your squad and certain things like that. So for me, it's a no-brainer to bring Ryan Bertrand in. Ryan Bertrand on a 2-year contract. I believe he's on around £60,000 a week at Southampton. If we could get him on a similar wage for that for 2 years, no-brainer, absolute no-brainer. I don't think he would take a 1-year contract. That's the problem. I think he's, most players, they want long-term contracts, even at 31. I would give him 2 years. That takes him to 33. Get rid of him at 33. Someone just said there, no resale value, but you're signing him as backup. You're not really signing him with the intention of selling him in the future. Van Aanholt wouldn't be a bad signing. I mean, the thing is, Van Aanholt, I think plays on a regular basis for Palace, so he's not going to come and be second choice at Arsenal. How many top quality left backs are going to come to Arsenal? They all know we've got Kieran Tierney, and they know they're not going to play that much. So I would take him. What are your thoughts? Why would he take a 2-year deal at the same wages? He's 33. He's 31. That will take him up to 33. If he's out of contract at Southampton, there's no guarantee he's going to get more than the wages he's currently on, because he's coming towards the back end of his career. Also, Ryan Bertrand, mate, you're coming to play for Arsenal. He's a London boy, remember? So he comes back to London, where he's from. Well, we don't know, but we could be in Europe next year. I'm sure he hasn't played too much European football at Southampton, and I just think he's a steady player. 1-1, here he comes. We need to come off this Bertrand talk. No fee means higher wages. Bertrand is good, but he's not going to be on the same wage because he's a free agent. Leave it. Get a youngster. 60 bags means 80 or 90. That is a good point. That is a good point. Because he's a free, he might be saying, put that wage up a little bit. But still, I get what you're saying. You could get a younger left back with more potential going forward, but they're going to be at a stage in their career where they want to play every week. It's very difficult. And then you're going to have a transfer fee attached to that. So, all right, you might be able to go and get a younger 22, 23-year-old left back, but you might have to pay 10 million, 15 million for him. It's an interesting one. What do you think? Ryan Bertrand, are you against it? Do you look at it as 31, he's washed up? I look at that, if it's a short-term contract, 1 or 2 years, I think that's a decent deal. You're talking about a guy that's won the Champions League. And I would say quietly been a solid left back in the Premier League for a good few years. Could Bertrand be another Lichtsteiner? Is he a Lichtsteiner? I don't think he is. Lichtsteiner, I believe, was 35 when we signed him. He had no legs whatsoever. I mean, listen, if you guys can think of a better left back, I'm sure there are younger, more long-term left backs that we could get. And I agree, if we could get a 21, 22-year-old who was really good and we could get him for cheap. What I'm saying, I think Arsenal need to spend their money in other areas in the summer. I wouldn't want to see Arsenal spend 15 million on a left back to sit on the bench in the summer when we've got Kieran Tierney. I would rather that money went towards go and get Aouar or go and get a top quality centre back. Go and get Max Aarons or Pereira or someone like that at right back. But let's see. Yes, Curtis, Tyreek Mitchell is the man. It's there for us. Is that the lad at Palace? I do rate him, actually. I do rate him. Van Aanholt is out of contract in the summer. Potentially then. Potentially. See, I didn't know that. Big up people in the chat for letting me know. I do think Van Aanholt, again, is, I would take Van Aanholt. Very attacking fullback. I just don't think he would accept sitting on the bench, and I don't think he would play ahead of Kieran Tierney. You from Brentford, Rico Henry, or the Mitchell from Palace. Yeah, I like that Mitchell looks like a decent player, man. But again, Palace ain't going to let him go for cheap, bro. They sold Wan-Bissaka for 50 million after a year or two in the first team. This Mitchell, they're going to want 20 million plus, surely, for a young English left back. Are you going to want to spend 20 million plus on a left back that you're going to put on the bench realistically unless Tierney's fit? Even Tagliafico, you know, you're talking 15 to 20 million. I think we've been linked with him before, in fact. Van Arnold got dropped at Palace. I would take Ty Mitchell. As I said, man, I don't think Arsenal can afford to spend 20 million on a left back to sit on the bench. I think we're better off spending that money elsewhere. Cornet from Lyon as a backup left back. A lot of people were saying him yesterday, actually. But again, would he come to Arsenal to play second choice? And how much would he cost from Lyon? So that's another thing. You lot stay away from Max Aarons. I want that kid at United. Oh, we need him. You've just bought Wan-Bissaka, man. You're good at right back. Mitchell is out of contract in the summer, so he'll be free. I mean, that is incredible if he's out of contract. See, I would take him. Mitchell looks a solid left back for Palace. And listen, if he's out of contract in the summer, that's crazy from Palace. Get Jamal Lewis. He's struggling at Newcastle because of Bruce. And I don't think anyone will go for him now because of the fact, you know, he hasn't done great since he joined Newcastle. Mitchell, not much left on his contract. I mean, that's unbelievable that Mitchell is out of contract. Why would they allow a player of that quality to just run down his deal? Makes no sense whatsoever. 1,500 of you in the chat right now. Really appreciate it. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button as well. Arsenal doing business, people. Getting players in. Grimaldo as well. Again, you're looking at a reasonable transfer fee, you know. And I just don't think Arsenal should be spending big money on a left back. We've got a certified left back in Kieran Tierney. So, I'm not sure. Uber7 said, yo, Curtis, missed the start of the show. Can you tell me your thoughts about Odegaard? Listen, I'm big up from Norway. Yeah, listen, I think it's a smart signing from Arsenal. You know, I do think it's a smart signing, and I think he can help us. I just wish there was an option to buy. For your information, Mitchell signed a 3-year deal in the summer. There you go, people. There's no way they would have an English left back playing every week with 6 months left. 3 years, he's going to cost you 20 mil plus. So, no, I wouldn't go for it. A lot of the other left backs that we've named, they're going to cost significant transfer fees. And I think that a player like Ryan Bertrand, as long as it's short term, not the end of the world. When is the next non-Arsenal watch-along? So we've got the Arsenal watch-along on Saturday, obviously, and then I'll do Liverpool-Man United on Sunday. So that'll be the next non-Arsenal one. So look out for that. I'm Swedish-Norwegian. Yeah, tell us a bit about Odegaard, man. Hit the like button. Let's go. Yeah, let me see how many likes, man. Arsenal don't have the money to buy Odegaard, people saying. How much... wow, the Tottenham fan wants Odegaard to sign. How much do you think Odegaard would cost on a permanent if we were, to go and get him in the summer? How much do you think Real Madrid would want for him? That's another point, because if they're asking for 50 or 60 million, the deal sort of goes out the window straight away. I've seen a little report here about Odegaard saying fantastic vision, excellent control, dribbling, got an eye for goal too, great weight of pass. Also got a lovely left foot. So, yeah, listen. What about Marcus Alonso? I would not want him. See, people saying 40, 35, 50, 70, 40 million buyback, 50 mil max. I mean, are Arsenal going to drop that on him? He would have to seriously impress in this window for Arsenal to drop that type of money. 36.5 mil is his market value at the moment, people are saying. He's going to have to do the business. He's going to have to do the business for Arsenal to go and get that. He's saying, people saying 40, 50 are clueless. What do you think, more or lower? Would you sell Pepe and then buy him? It all depends what happens when he comes in. If he wows us when he comes in and tears the place up, then, we might have to go and spend big money. Will we be in the Champions League as well? Obviously it's going to take a lot. We're going to have to win the Europa League in order to get there. Greetings, Big C. I saw something today on Odegaard for 36 mil. Well, I mean, I think that's decent. If he really does well, I'd be happy to pay 36 million for him. 22 years of age. If he does really well, international player, left-footed as well. See, we're having arguments here. Let me have a look. I will have a look. People saying that Mitchell didn't sign a 3-year contract. Let's try and find out. Mitchell from Crystal Palace. Let's try and find his contract. What's his name? Patrick Mitchell. What's his name? Tyreek Mitchell, is it? Mitchell, Crystal Palace. Let's see his contract. Tyreek Mitchell from Crystal Palace. How long does he have left on his contract? He's starting ahead of Van Arnold at the moment. His contract is... It says contract decision looms. Yeah, so maybe he hasn't. Maybe he hasn't signed that 3-year contract. Yeah, it just says they've got a decision to make. Look, yeah, contract expires June 30th, 2021. So there you go. So I mean, people were all in the comments debating. Listen, yeah, 6 months left on his contract. 2021 June. Mitchell is out of contract. So yeah, big up. It says that Palace do want to give him a new contract, but he hasn't signed it. Now listen, I changed my mind. I gotta be honest. I would go and get him. I've seen him a few times. He's strong. He's 21 years of age. Good player. I would take him. You know, he'd be a free as well. That to me is a no-brainer. Now I'll be honest. I would go for him ahead of Bertrand because of the age. He's 21. Looks strong. Looks quick. He's done well. They're on your case, Darren. They're on your case. 5 months left on his deal. Yeah, I would definitely go and get him. So I take it back. I don't want Bertrand. I'll take that Mitchell instead. But you know what Arsenal are like? They never go with the sensible decision. They'll probably go and give Ryan Bertrand a 3-year deal on about, 90 grand a week. But let's see. What I think's positive going into this window, the 3 positions that I really looked at and thought, you know what, Arsenal need to get these positions sorted. I thought we need the attacking midfielder, we need the backup goalkeeper, and we need a left back. And I'll be honest, being this far into the window, I didn't think we'd address all 3 of those situations in one transfer window. So, listen, kudos to Edu for addressing what was needed with his hands tied. Realistically, no money. Curtis, Arsenal fans have been tracking Odegaard's plane who will be landing at Gatwick at 4 p.m. Arsenal fans are the kings of that stuff, man. 5 million for Mitchell now, beat the rush. It would make sense. It would make sense. 1.4K, not even 500 likes. It doesn't add up. Come on, people, smash the like button. Nearly 1,500 of you in the chat. Really appreciate that. Make sure you hit the likes and subscribe if you haven't already. What do you make of Arsenal's transfer business? Odegaard apparently set to be announced today. Hopefully that gets done and dusted. Reading a little bit more, Arsenal are interested in Ryan Bertrand, who is available on a free. Arteta sees the left back as ideal competition for Kieran Tierney. He's homegrown, has immense Premier League experience, decent cover for Tierney. Keeps the powder dry for impending non-homegrown signings. There you go. I mean, listen, as we said, Mitchell for me would be the better option out of the 2. 21 years of age. He's looked good at Palace. Arsenal get caught up sometimes in this whole, he's got so much Premier League experience, Ryan Bertrand. Willian's got Premier League experience and it hasn't exactly worked for him, Curtis, the Norwegian manager, has spoken about the move to Arsenal already. The funny thing is, the Sociedad manager has already said that, they wanted Odegaard back, but, when Arsenal came in, that was it. So his head got turned straight away. So that's decent. Boom, Matt Ryan. There you go. It was meant to be boom, Lionel Messi, but we've ended up with boom, Matt Ryan. Who'd have thought we'd be sitting here doing videos, celebrating, getting Brighton's second choice goalkeeper? How times have changed, eh? But listen, we are where we are, man. Beggars can't be choosers. When you've got Renata, Matt Ryan looks like prime Buffonti, who is your second choice goalkeeper, and getting a player on loan from Real Madrid. Listen, it'll just be interesting. I just hope he's not another Denis Suarez. I hope he comes here and he adjusts quickly and hits the ground running. You know, it'd be a shame. Or on the other hand, if he tears up the place and then goes back there and we don't buy him, that's even more frustrating. Different knock FC. Yeah, there you go. Well, we had the envelopes then. We knocked and then gave you the envelope of Ralstonelli envelope, but we ain't got them envelopes now. Bertrand will be 32 in August, 1 year deal. Yeah. Yeah, having seen that now, I'm agreeing. See, people have convinced me in the stream. I didn't realise that Tyreek Mitchell at Crystal Palace has only got 6 months left on his contract. I would be going for him ahead of Ryan Bertrand. I've got to be honest. He's 21 years of age and he has impressed me when he's played. Arno said, hello, Curtis. Good content as always. Big up. He hasn't pulled up any trees when I've watched him, to be honest. I'm not sure what player you're talking there. Bertrand, 1.5-year deal until he's 33. Yeah, I mean, sometimes you got to be careful you're not signing a player that is just winding down his career, as we found out the hard way with the likes of Willian and that. So for me, if Arsenal want a left-back, Bertrand, with him becoming 32, I would probably only give him a year. I thought 2 years, but if he's turning 32 in August, 32 on August the 5th, for me, no more than 1 year. And I agree. I would go for Tyreek Mitchell. I can't believe Palace have allowed him to get within 6 months of his deal ending. Crazy. Friday said, big up Curtis Shaw, one of the realest commentators out there. Big up, bro. Seems like we have decent players coming in. The board should be doing good deals on a consistent basis. They need to. Marlowe said, Curtis, anytime I watch Eddie play, reminds me of Anelka. What, Nicholas Anelka? Or is there another Anelka that I don't know about? He has the first touch of Henry and the football brain of Bergkamp. Respect him. Listen, Marlowe, I appreciate your super chat. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. I don't know what you've been drinking. I don't know, maybe lockdown is stressing you out slightly, or maybe you're just bantering. I don't know. But he does not remind me of Anelka. He does not have the first touch of Thierry Henry, and he does not have the football brain of Dennis Bergkamp. That is for sure. Oh dear, lockdown stressing people out, man. I'm telling you. I think he's mocking us, man. Man's calling him Thierry Henry. Oh dear, Eddie, man, Eddie. Oh dear, Eddie Nketiah is trash. Listen, we'll leave that one. I think he's trying to draw us out, people. Odegaard will be good for us, like Ozil when he came. Let's hope so. Anelka ain't got nothing on Nketiah. Was Anelka the under-23 top goal scorer? Oh, dear, people. I think people, them are really going for it today, innit? Anelka won Champions Leagues and World Cups and them things, innit? I don't think under-23 football really bothered him that much. Do you know what I'm saying? I don't think the under-23 football bothered him that much still. He was a monster. Yeah, Marlowe's been on the drink early, man, I'm telling you. Jeez. Eddie or Werner? That's hard. No, do you know what? Timo Werner, I think, is still a half-decent player, man. I just think maybe he doesn't suit the Prem. Maybe he doesn't suit Chelsea, man. Wow, did you watch Anelka? Bruv, Anelka, honestly, is one of the reasons why I supported Arsenal. He is, I would go as far to say, one of the best strikers I've ever watched playing for Arsenal. Unbelievable. Deluded, tell him, man. We don't need to explain Anelka. If anyone who watched Anelka and you're a little older, you know that guy was something else, man. He was something else. And said Nketiah is better than Anelka. I think he's on the wind-up. But yeah, Timo Werner, listen, you can't just write him off. We've seen this happen before. I don't know if he suits the way Chelsea play. You look at a lot of his goals for Chelsea, they were through balls. He was running onto things. He's a runner. He's like Aubameyang. They're runners. They're not dribblers, Have you changed your mind on Arteta yet? No, honestly, I haven't. I'm not banging the drum for Arteta. I'm falling back. I'm saying, you know what? He ain't going nowhere. I don't need to keep shouting it out. As I said, February is the crunch month to me. You're going to see with the fixtures we've got coming up now, whether he's the man or not. It's as simple as that. Even in the next week, Southampton twice and Man United. 3 big games with the FA Cup holders. We don't want to go to Southampton and get knocked out. We then go back there 3 days later and play them in the league. And then at the end of next week, we play Man United. We've all got a lot of Man United friends, who are fans of Man United. We hate losing that game. We need to do something, United are top of the league. That's going to be a big game. Jose says, Trinidad Gooner, respect, my G. Good content. Big up the Caribbean Gooners. Respect. See, this is why I F with courtesy. Don't flip-flop just because we won a couple games. Real big one. Big up yourself, my G. Real one. Yeah, I have to, bro. Listen, I'm not going to just be convinced because we won a few games. We're 10th in the league. I'm not about to start celebrating and popping champagne because we won 4 or 5 games against teams that we should be beating. The only one you could say really that was a little bit of a shock was Chelsea. West Brom were poor. Brighton, we scraped through that. Newcastle, we scraped through the FA Cup game, and Newcastle in the FA Cup, and then Newcastle in the league. We were good second half. It's good, but it's not, we got a lot bigger tests to come. Get through this month, yeah. Beat teams like Man United or Leicester away. I've been to Leicester, I think, twice to watch Arsenal, and we got beat both times, and really bad performances as well. Curtis, are you dancing in AFTV's new song for Ryan and Odegaard? Well, they got songs out, yeah? We can't be bringing out songs for players like that. We ain't bringing out songs for lone players and Matt Ryan. We ain't doing that. Let's face it, no top 4, no Europa League this season. It's going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough. Can we win the Europa League? Hey, Curtis, if we win Europa League and get into Champions League, do you think Awar will come to Arsenal? I don't think he will. I honestly think we've missed the boat on him. I think he'll go somewhere else. Matt Ryan is on loan, yeah, but apparently he's out of contract in the summer. So we could get him on a free. Chelsea ain't no big team no more. They're the same level with Arsenal. Well, they are with Lampard in charge. He's having a nightmare. That AFTV video for Party was pure comedy gold. Yeah, I don't think they're going to be making videos for Matt Ryan coming in on loan till the end of the season. I'm not sure how much of a budget you'd get for that, But listen, at least we're doing business. I think when you haven't got a lot of money, you've got to be smart with your business. We needed a second choice goalkeeper. We've brought in, a proven, experienced goalkeeper in the Prem who can come in as a competent second choice. And then, we've brought in a good player with a lot of potential who's good in that number 10 role. It's just, can we get the option to buy? Curtis Anelka is probably the best striker that Arsenal had. Please note the word striker. Omri and Bergkamp were more all-round players. Omri himself has said that he isn't a born striker. I get your point. Bergkamp was like a number 10. Omri was a winger/striker. Anelka, Ian Wright are probably the 2 best out-and-out strikers that I've seen at Arsenal. Van Persie was even a winger in his younger days. So, yeah, I get the point. Omri has spoken about Anelka in his documentary, saying he's one of the best strikers he ever saw. Omri is the better footballer, of course, but Anelka was absolutely lethal. Ian Wright, probably the best natural goal scorer I think I've ever seen at Arsenal. Hey, Curtis, who was the best player you ever saw or played against? Did they ever go pro? If you're looking at who's the best player you ever saw, the best player I've ever seen is R9. Played against. Who's the best player I've ever played against? It's been a few. I've played against some good players, man, but I remember Jody Morris, he was a very good player. Certain players, you see them as pros and they're not that glamorous to watch. You play against them when they're younger and they're like, Jody Morris was a sick baller at Chelsea, could keep the ball. He didn't really do mad things in the first team, but he was a big baller. Tom Huddleston, I played in the same team as him. He was unbelievable. I saw a thing with Harry Redknapp once, said Tom Huddleston was technically one of the best players he ever worked with. He was 6'4" when he was about 15. He was bigger than all the players. He had unbelievable technique. Left foot, right foot, he could do all sorts, all sorts. Obviously, I'm from Nottingham, so Jermaine Pennant played at Tom Huddleston, Jermaine Genus. Most of the Nottingham ballers I played with them or against them. Leon Best, all top players, man. So yeah, a few of them. David McGoldrick as well. Best I ever watched live is R9. Although he wasn't at his best when I watched him. He was at the back end of his career. It was a Brazil friendly against Jamaica. So I suppose the best that I've seen live and produce, it's got to be Henry. It's got to be Henry. Matt Ryan's nickname at Valencia was Tripod. There you go, man. There you go. The tripod's in. The tripod is in on loan. Hit the like button if you want Odegaard to sign. R9. Listen, R9 is my favourite player of all time. Anelka had a bigger ceiling than Henry, but he never fulfilled it. Yeah, it's a shame. I mean, watch the documentary, man, of Anelka. It's a great documentary. And listen, he won a lot of trophies, but, didn't get the individual, recognition that he should have. Carly Leto said, I'm happy for you guys as a Real Madrid fan, but at least there is no buy option. That makes Perez genius. Sad, innit? Listen, I'm going to get out of here, people. Appreciate you all tuning in today. Still nearly 1,500 of you in the live. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button on the way out. Are you happy with Arsenal's business? Odegaard on loan. Matt Ryan joins on loan as well. Backup goalkeeper. Hopefully the Odegaard deal gets announced today. And I'll be back tomorrow for the live stream. Arsenal against Southampton in the FA Cup. And also I'll be doing Liverpool Man United on Sunday. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care, people. Bless.